Welcome back to Talk of the Town on 99.7, 1450 WHTC and WHTC.com.
Welcome back to Talk of the Town for this Friday, June the 19th. We'll reopen the phone lines and hopefully get us into the weekend on a happier note. Just shaking my head, Would like to be able to talk a little bit about some good things, not some negative things, but unfortunately, that seems to be the case. But we got to hold off on any of that discussion right now because it's time, third Friday of the month. Time to talk hockey and elections and a few other things with Allegan County Clerk Bob Genetski on the other side of our Zoom connection. Bob, good morning and welcome back to Coach's Corner.
Good morning, Gary. It's great to be back on Talk of the Town.
Yes, even though John Cherry's, I don't know if he's still doing the podcast, but anyway, we'll talk a little hockey and then we'll talk a little bit about elections as well. Story about our friends over in Battle Creek.
Yeah, boy, tough. That's a tough honor to bear there for the Bees.
The Battle Creek Rumblebees have quietly folded operations after just one miserable season in the Federal League. Oh, God. Whenever I say the Federal League, I'm thinking Slapshot, don't you?
Yeah. Oh, gosh, Reg Dunlop. It's easily called to mind. And when you look at the sole win that team put together for the year, you understand how they got the honor that ESPN gave them. They called to mind like the 1974 Capitals, is it, for futility?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
1 out of 48 before the season ended in March. And the general manager of the Bees found out that the franchise was being yanked when he got a call from another team official wondering who's on the roster that they can be able to take in the dispersal draft among the other 9 teams.
Ouch.
And today, by the way, our Zoom connection, by the way, you can join the conversation with Bob at 395-1450. Bob's wearing his Red Wings jersey. I'm wearing my old Saginaw Wheels shirt. So I know all about struggling minor league hockey franchises and not paying bills and stuff like that. That hits close to home, but whenever I saw the Bees in the Federal League, as you said, was Reggie Dunlop, one of the Hanson brothers and all that. But certainly hockey's coming back, except in Detroit and a few other cities as well. Hub cities. Heard from our friends in Canada that the government has said, okay, hub city can be established. Looks like Edmonton and Vegas will be where the hub cities are.
Yeah, the fans are the ultimate winners there, Gary. I mean, we've been yearning for hockey. We've been yearning for something to take our minds off the whole COVID experience, and whether it's at a hub or empty stadiums throughout the country, I think we're just excited and ready to get back. Matter of fact, I was out over the weekend, ran into some sports fans from Columbus who obviously want to talk about the Buckeyes. I wanted to talk hockey, and I asked them, I said, hey, did the Blue Jackets make the playoffs? And they said, yeah, we're the last ones in on that side. So people are paying attention. They're excited about it, and it's good for the league. It's good for the fans, and I think it's good for the American psyche.
One other hockey question, Bob Genetski, and then we'll talk about some election issues and ballot issues and stuff like that. You surprised what Jeff Blashill was given another year?
No, not at all. I've, in fact, watched him since he got poached from juniors to coach at Western Michigan University, where he took the exact same talent as Jim Culhane had the year before, where they finished, I think, near last in the CCHA, turned them in 1 year into an NCAA bid team, and then did a great job shortly after that with the Grand Rapids Griffins. It's not Jeff Blashill why the Red Wings aren't winning.
Yeah, it's just simply the talent's just not there. We'll see what happens when the draft happens a little bit later on this summer. Now,
Yeah.
let's talk about some meat and potato stuff, and you can join the conversation with Bob Genetski, the Allegan County Clerk and Register of Deeds, at 395-1450, 395-1450. As an Ottawa County resident, which I am, Holly and I received in the mail this week forms from Ottawa County Clerk and Register of Deeds, Justin Roebuck, asking if we would like to have an absentee ballot for the August 4th primary election, the November 3rd general election, or both. And we could submit the thing to our local township clerk, in our case, if we wish to do so. What about Allegan County? Did you follow suit, or did you let the Secretary of State's office handle those requests?
Well, that's a violation of election law, what Ottawa County did, and very disappointed that the city of Holland did the same, particularly in the Allegan County portion south of 32nd Street. Had a voter contact me the other day, was very disappointed or concerned. He or she is not on the permanent AV list. I don't know if you and your wife are on the permanent AV list. If you're on the permanent AV list, you're going to get a solicitation for an AV ballot, and that's fine because by being on that permanent AV list, you have asked for that ballot application. In this case, if it is sent out without specifically being requested by a voter, it's a violation of Michigan election law, which is very clear in statute and then decided by 2 court decisions, both appeals court decisions. So Allegan County did not send out AV ballot applications to voters who did not request it. And we encourage our local clerks to follow their permanent AV list and do so. I do happen to have here with me, Gary.
Go ahead and stretch out and go ahead and get that for us here.
I happen to have a stack of, I don't know if you can see those or not. These are all AV ballot applications that Jocelyn Benson sent out to Allegan County to voters who are dead, who don't live here anymore. One poor gentleman has passed on since 2013. His daughter certainly didn't appreciate the AV ballot application that was sent. So not only was the law broken, but a lot of money was wasted, taxpayer money. And a lot of taxpayers are concerned about this. Had a gentleman from Ganges Township call his clerk and say, this seems to be fraudulent, as a AV ballot application arrived for a gentleman who's not lived at that residence for 5 years.
Could the county clerk's office be involved in any litigation, either as a plaintiff or as a defendant? Because somebody might file a lawsuit, and you know as well as I do, Bob, when lawsuits get filed, they're scattered, trying to get the deepest part, the pockets, and everybody gets
definitely.
involved.
They go after everybody. Yeah, definitely, and it's possible that an activist organization who is committed to following the law might do so. I have sent out a letter to every one of my local clerks in Allegan County, including the City of Holland clerk, and I said that I would be the litigant if they broke the law in Allegan County relative to absentee ballot applications. And I want to make it clear, Gary, I have no problem with anybody who wants to vote absentee. I just want them to abide by the law.
You mentioned you might be the litigant. Could you do that, or do you have to sort of get the permission because it would be funds involved with the county government? You need to get the permission from the county board on this.
The county would be the litigant. As chief election official in Allegan County, it's my job to defend and administer election law.
Okay. I'm just kind of wondering whether or not your hands might be tied financially more than legally in that particular situation. 395-1450, 395-1450 if you have a question for Allegan County Clerk and Register of Deeds, Bob Genetski. We talked about a little bit with Justin Roebuck. I'll bring it up with you as well for those who might be only listening because they live south of 32nd Street or Allegan Road, as might be the case outside of the city. The deadline for filing or for being on the August 4th ballot has already passed, not only for candidates, but also for proposals, right?
That's accurate. The deadline for filing in the partisan primary, which is August 4th, has passed to have your name appear on the ballot. The deadline for being a write-in candidate still exists, so I think roughly into July.
Okay, I just want to try to get those deadlines in so that we can start seeing, all right, we're getting that August 4th primary ballot lined up in order there.
Right.
395-1450. Good morning. You're on the line with Allegan County Clerk and Register of Deeds, Bob Genetski.
Good morning, Bob. Thanks for all you do. I had read some disheartening news that all those signatures for pro-lifers to overturn the 17-week dismemberment of fetuses. What happened with all of that?
Thank you for the call. It's on my list to talk about today. Your timing is awesome because yesterday the State Board of Canvassers, which is comprised of 2 Democrats and 2 Republicans, gave a smackdown to the Secretary of State, whose office tried to deny a bunch of those signatures in some unprecedented moves by throwing out some of those sheets with the signatures on them, claiming that there were rips or tears on the signatures. And what the Secretary of State has done is, in doing that, in throwing out those sheets, she reduced the overall pool for the signatures. And one of the first steps that whole process needs to go through is her office needs to preview those signatures and make sure that enough of them are valid for that to move on. So what she was saying is early on in the process that there were not enough valid signatures. She claimed that there were that the Right to Life petitions fell 3 signatures short. As it turns out, Right to Life went before the Board of Canvassers yesterday and indicated that none of the sheets that the Secretary of State threw out to determine validity should have been thrown out. A lot of them were thrown out by temporary workers who might not have necessarily been skilled in going through those petitions. So the State Board of Canvassers has brought new life to that effort, and now it appears as if all of those sheets will have to be gone through for validity. And as soon as I heard the news that the Secretary of State, who in my mind is an activist who has no intention of protecting the unborn, as soon as I heard that she was saying that the Right to Life petitions had fallen short, my belief right away was that she cherry-picked those petition signatures, and the Board of Canvassers in a 4-0 decision yesterday agreed and said the same thing.
Okay, does that answer your question? We lost the caller. Appreciate the call. 395-1450, 395-1450. And definitely not all county clerks are on board with the Secretary of State on a lot of things. But when you have 83 county clerks and a Secretary of State's office, there's bound to be disagreements, and this certainly is a bone of contention between you and Secretary Benson's office.
Oh, I agree. I've served under 2 Secretary of States right now, and I certainly didn't agree all the time with predecessor Ruth Johnson. We all see the law, we all recognize it, and implement it in possibly 83 different ways throughout the state of Michigan. So there's always room for disagreement, but in the end, we've got to come to some consensus as to taxpayer money and how we all are going to abide by the law. We all hopefully recognize that we can't make up laws as we go along and that we need the legislature to create or change laws.
395-1450, 395-1450. Bob, with the lifting of stay home, stay safe, and safer at home regulations, even though the governor has extended the emergency to mid-July now, the Allegan County offices are open to a limited extent, I believe. Tell us all about it.
Well, first of all of the offices under my purview, which include the Register of Deeds office, the Vital Records office, where people come for their marriage licenses, concealed pistol licenses, death certificates, and DBAs and stuff, as well as the Circuit Court Records Division office, are all open. I highly recommend that anybody phone first, because most of those are by appointment, so we can control the traffic flow through the offices. That doesn't mean we don't want to see you. I want to make sure you get your marriage license. I want to make sure that people are getting their CPLs. I want to make sure that people are getting all their needs filled. But if you phone first, we can give you a time slot. That means you won't be sitting in the hallway or congregating with a bunch of other people for your protection and safety. So I would encourage people to call 269-673-0450 to make an appointment as they come down. On the Circuit Court Records Division, we are still open for more emergency functions. That's people who might need to come in for a personal protection order or something like that. again, I encourage them to phone first to make sure that we don't have a crowd at that particular time period. And the rest of the building is still under a particular kind of closed effort because they depend on the Supreme Court Administrative Office, SCAO, indicating when the courts can open fully. But the offices under my purview are meeting with customers every day. And when, you know me, Gary, I'm a people person. I like being with and around the voters of Allegan County and the taxpayers. It's a taxpayer funded building. It hurts me that it's not open 100%, but if you need something from the clerk or register of deeds office, we are seeing people in person, and that's my favorite way to do it.
And again, that number, by the way, for the Allegan County Clerk and Register of Deeds office is 269 673 0450. And we'll put a link to the County Clerk and Register of Deeds page when we put the audio of this podcast on our website at WHTC.com in a little bit. And the video, by the way, is working just fine. Thank you very much. And we'll have the video linked to it a little bit later on. Again, the link will be in the description of the podcast at WHTC.com. Let me talk about a serious matter. And maybe you can answer, maybe you can't. I don't know. Are we getting more personal protection orders over the last 3 months since COVID-19?
Unfortunately, yes. Unfortunately, I'd say those are up probably 20%, if not 25% over last year. It's a concerning and an alarming trend. When people are under the stay at home and stay safe order, sometimes they don't have any place else to go, and they feel threatened. And obviously those PPOs are viewed within 24 hours by a judge, and a determination is made. But it's unfortunate, but I'm glad the building is open to make sure that those people are taken care of.
Yeah, you mentioned about the PPO orders, and I thought about that, and of course there are some concerns. We've seen increases with that, and Ottawa County and other parts, other jurisdictions in Michigan and across the country, and to a certain extent, maybe worldwide too. But I can't really don't quote me on that particular thing. We touched upon a little bit last time about dealing with title fraud and making sure you are aware that if somebody might be trying to steal the widow's land like they do in the old Western movies, but it is certainly a concern. And of course, there's ways to contact it with your site as well.
It is, and I would encourage everybody to go online, even at least maybe twice a year or so. Go online to the website, to the Register of Deeds office, the Allegan County Register of Deeds office. Search your name, search the titles and deeds that are under your name, and make sure that nobody's tried to file anything on top of that. It's a good practice to do, if for no other reason. Remember, on occasion, Gary, when you take out a loan, maybe on a boat or something like that, there's a lien put up against your mortgage that should always be removed after you've paid it off, after you've paid a loan off. But sometimes those things aren't done in a timely manner, and those could possibly affect your credit rating. So you always want to make sure that those liens are removed from any title you have down at the County Register of Deeds office. And I would encourage people to go online to the Office of Register of Deed and go to the search online portal. And from there, they can tell if any nefarious action has occurred, or if anybody has filed anything in their name or on top of a piece of property that they own.
And not only if you want to get that title situation taken care of, but maybe you need to get, a birth certificate because you might be doing some traveling. Hopefully we will be doing some traveling. Certainly you want to get that passport, get that birth certificate. And there's ways on the website to be able to get that record from your office, or do they still have to come in person?
We don't issue birth certificates online. We still encourage people to come in person with a state or a state ID or a passport or some substantiating information. On rare occasion, depending on the situation, we could get, when we were under the strict COVID rules, we could do something through the mail, but it takes a little extra substantiating information, including your signature, photocopy of your driver's license, and perhaps another ID.
The website is AlleganCounty.org. You can go to a link to the County Clerk and Register of Deeds office to get more information about some of the things that Bob Genetski, the Clerk and Register of Deeds, has mentioned so far this morning. We will again put a link to Bob's page on our webpage at WHTC.com. We put the podcast up a little bit later on this morning. Bob Genetski, as always, we appreciate the time. Wish you and the family well, a safe 4th of July holiday weekend. Let's do this again next month.
Sounds fun. My best to you and your family as well, and all the listening audience as we get back to the full sprint of summer. I pray that everybody's safe, healthy, and well.
Bob Genetski, the Allegan County Clerk, joining us on 99.7 and 1450 WHTC. Coming up on the WHTC Talk of the Town program, we will be having Bill Rakoff with CBS News, followed by WHTC News with Peg McNichol. And then after that, we will have some open line time, maybe lighten things up to get us ready for the weekend on 99.7 and 1450 WHTC.